What have you learned about playing a catalyzing role within a new and growing field?
Yeah. We've learned that this is absolutely and truly catalytic funding. All of our subgrantees have told us that being selected as SIF Pay for Success grantees elevated their project's profile in their community. It's helped them to attract potential investors and keep the momentum going in these project development processes that can take a long time. So that's been the biggest learning, is just how impactful these dollars really are. The other thing that we're seeing is that the field is very much watching and learning from what we're doing here. Correspondingly, a lot of thought went into how we were going to assess project readiness in determining which applicants for funding we ultimately selected as part of our subgrantee cohort. We've also had a goal of helping the field better understand how Pay for Success projects are developed. And so it was important for us to really share with the field what the project development process looks like, to decrease barriers to entry for others looking at how do we align stakeholders around common goals and have them utilize Pay for Success approaches to achieve shared outcomes. This has gotten really granular for us. Even things like defining terminology. What's the difference between a feasibility assessment and a transaction structuring stage of project development were important for us to discuss with our other SIF grantee cohorts and hopefully have us all use that language consistently so that, again, we're standardizing how we talk about this developing space.
So we here at ICS are truly committed to meeting the needs of the field, whether it be early childhood or the exploration of Pay for Success within early childhood. And so we have seen with our first cohort that these needs truly are ever changing. So in an effort to address those needs, we have adapted our approach to providing technical assistance by creating two distinct options. So we now have the coaching model and the consulting model of providing technical assistance to our subrecipient jurisdictions. Under the coaching model, we essentially guide staff members of our subrecipient jurisdiction through the various steps of the feasibility study process. So that might mean guiding them through doing a landscape analysis, an outcome analysis, a cost benefit analysis, through the creation of an expansion plan, things of that nature. All steps that will help us figure out whether or not Pay for Success is indeed a feasible, viable option for expanding their early childhood interventions of interest. On the other hand, we have the consulting model where we here at ICS essentially act as the consultants to the jurisdiction, where we are going through the steps of the feasibility study process. So we are the ones conducting the different analyses that are necessary. So at the end of the day, the result under these two different approaches is the same. We will still have an answer as to whether or not Pay for Success financing is the best option for scaling up or expanding the interventions of interest. It's just that the approach is a bit different.
Just being part of the SIF community has, I think, allowed us to tap into an incredible, community of practice that is all really focused on evidence-based policymaking and innovation. And being able to share ideas and best practices across that community has been so meaningful to the organization. So I'm incredibly grateful to be part of SIF and recognize that this is not a traditional grant program where you get handed a sum of money and then get asked to go do stuff, but rather this is an organization that really continues to stay involved in our work and helps us on a day-to-day basis as we try to serve the governments and the nonprofits that are part of our own cohort. So I'm incredibly grateful for SIF. I'd love to hear some other thoughts.
Well, I've really appreciated working on the grant, working on the program, and I appreciate the opportunity. One of the things that has been really impressive to me about the SIF grant program is the fact that we can continuously improve. and we work with the program officer at SIF, Jenny, as we have different ideas about things that we may want to do with our program. So it doesn't have to look exactly how that initial application was, but we actually get to iterate a little bit. And Jenny's always asking us, what are the lessons learned? And I think that the lessons learned have helped us make really strong changes in the program that have been supported by SIF when we offer those changes up. And Jack, you might want to talk through the big program change we had this year.
Yeah, and I think one clear example in how we've been supported through these changes is our decision to effectively decouple our selection process for governments and nonprofits, which has really allowed us to explore working in new geographies as well as new issue areas without some of the limitations that we had had before.
I think the lessons that we've learned and the journey that we've been on with our state and local government partners, and for us, the healthcare sector, the quasi-private public healthcare sector around Medicaid, has been finding the mechanisms that allow us to capitalize what works, to be able to fund at a larger scale things that we know that will improve health outcomes and actually economic and social outcomes for families, and being able to define much better in this process not only what are identified cashable savings so that systems pay for actually what works, but what are also the values of those systems and the values of local and state government and of communities, and changing that into a business proposition that allows us to sustain good works in communities with continued improvement and not have communities and neighborhoods and families dependent on sporadic federal, state, or even philanthropic grants, and instead doing those things which we know matter, which have results, and getting people to focus on the metrics of results and identifying how we can define the savings created by doing the right thing has been our biggest lesson.